Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's show.
Hello, little boy who's waving to us.
What?
The little
Kid
boy
from
the kid from last time.
Oh, that's right. There we go. Absolutely. I thought I'm not waving. Okay, so
I also was curious if that was just like a weird insult at the start. I was like, I'll roll with it. Cool.
There we are. Okay, so yes, we are going to carry on with tonight's game. We had some very curious things happening last time, and to give us a recap, we're going to use the Dice of Destiny, and that is number 3. 1, 2, 3. That's you, Brian.
Oh boy. What happened last week?
What didn't happen last week?
Little hit. It was Wednesday.
All right. No, I actually have a lot of notes. He says, prefacing.
You make those?
If I can just find,
50 minutes, mate, and we had a big fight.
running low on sleep as I am
called him.
tonight.
Very sorry.
My mind is moving a lot slower than normal. Okay.
I've had chocolate. I have the opposite problem.
So
I'm trying to go back in time.
So we started out convincing the jailer that Deimos was not the doppelganger. Okay. And then that's okay. Once I got where he started, I know where we ended. So we went off in search of the Deimos doppelganger, or whatever it is we thought it might be, and eventually found out that there were doubles of all of us from some other time. And we ended up in a very heated battle, finding out that 2 of us were like evil twins, namely Raj's evil twin Naj and Shifty's evil twin Nifty. And Raj decided that his evil twin had to die no matter what. But before the battle ended, and it was a very close battle, Mirren did not want to kill them all and went to her twin and convinced them to work together to return them to their time period. So we ended up with only Naj dying, and Nightmos, was it Abbott? No. What was Mirren's twin's name? It was
Claudia.
Ludia, specifically.
Caludia, yes, because I misspelled it.
Yeah. Caludia is still alive, and Nifty, evil little Nifty, is still alive.
We do got to kill that little something. I can't say the word I was going to say.
I'm going to reopen the case T-Rex v. Lawyer.
Yeah. That's a very good summation of what happened. I think Laura Bones beat you though, in terms of succinctness. She says the boys fought and the ladies talked. Done. So there you are. Yeah, big thank you to Laura, our moderator in both Twitch and YouTube. All right, let's get on with it. We sink down into that town square in the middle of the city of Pythios. And I just want to let you guys know that we don't actually have unfortunately, we don't have the Dungeon Fog maps with us today due to a technical fault that they are working on as we speak, but we do have the world maps supplied through World Anvil. So that's just something to bear in mind if you notice that we don't go to any particular battle maps. Okay, the square is relatively quiet now that the battle has concluded, and you are gathered in that space. The body of Nifty lies Naj lies quite still, as nifty and, well, Night Moss has basically just accepted Deimos as now just part of his existence, and so
Yeah, we're best friends.
yeah, absolutely. They agree on everything, so that makes life easier.
Raj is going to search Naj's body for any useful items.
All right. As you are searching, yeah.
I'm gonna go pick up my gear.
Yes, that was dumped as well. So yes, you can certainly get that. As you are going through Naj's pockets and things, you come across a rather strange. It looks like a gemstone, but with your experience in gemstones, this is made out of. It looks as if it's just made out of granite. It doesn't seem to have very much commercial value, but someone has carved quite a lot of intricate writing all over it. And you realize there is a single platinum chain that comes out of the tip of this what's the shape? This pyramidal shaped pendant. And so that's what you find on him. You then find
Triangle?
yes, so it's a little four-sided pyramid. There we go, a D4 basically.
D4.
I should have just gone straight to that, shouldn't I? On a platinum chain. Now, otherwise you find 50 gold coins of various denominations. There is 2 very sharp-looking daggers, as well as a handful of silver and copper pieces, if you really want to take note of that.
All right,
That's yours.
I will take that. Yes. I will wait a little while to detect magic on it. Wait until we have time in a safe place.
I will ask Nightmost if he wants me to help him bury Naj.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
I had an idea. Paludia told me that Naj knew all about their stuff. So can we find someone to speak with the dead? Or maybe ask him some questions about what he knows about the prophecy, about how I was told that we stopped the world, made the world end. So I'd like to know about that. He also said that I used the special map to do it. Oh, and by the way, Claudia, if you would have just frisked me, you would have found it. And I open my cloak and pull out the tube and then put it back.
She nods.
Perhaps we could go to the Temple of Death. I have done work for them. I have a relationship. Maybe they could help us.
I'm thinking maybe we should put the body in a different place, like in their hideout. It's close by. And maybe wash this blood away, clean up a little.
Nifty starts cupping water from the fountain in the center and starts splashing it onto the paving in an attempt to help. He looks at you, Shifty.
I'm still in my bear shape, and I keep my eyes on him very, very closely. Initially, I was about to say that I'm going to grab him at the back of his collar and just bring him along like a big dog brings his favorite toy.
I want to go and check on the barrel, because I imagine she's probably still a little freaked out by this whole fight.
Oh, yeah. But for that, I think I'd better revert to me.
This makes sense. Yeah, Deimos, you're walking over to the barrel, and Nightmoss is walking over with you. So, your Claudia also makes is like, you know, smart.
She is. She's smart.
Yeah,
She makes lots of decisions.
yeah, yeah. Naj used to fight with our one all the time about who was right and wrong.
That makes sense. If she's like ours,
Yeah,
ours does. She tends to take the reins of a horse she's never met. I would say.
ours could probably eat a horse she's never met.
Oh, I like that. That's a strength there. That's good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, look for the strengths, and that's where you find them.
That's very wise. I like that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
very good.
It's not mine. It is, I will confess, no. But yeah, it was someone who was very dear to me, as a matter of fact, who came up with that. But sadly, it's no more.
It's
All right.
it's not the Amphos, right?
Well, his name was Amphos, but close enough, I guess.
Did something happen to him?
Yeah. Unfortunately, when the orcs invaded, we were on the front lines in one of the battles near Dordu, and he went down to about 5 or 6 of the brutes. It was a glorious death. There was nothing to be ashamed of course, but it was death nonetheless.
Of course. At least it was a good death. I'm glad he got to go out in glory as he would have wanted.
Yeah.
Did you need a hug about this? This is something that everyone should have time to process and go through if you'd like.
That would be very kind of you, yeah.
Oh, of course, bring it in. Just give him a big hug.
These two giant barbarians giving each other a hug. There's perhaps a tear being shed at the distant memory. The pink barrel turns into, or reforms anyway, into Bickett, who hops forward and hugs both of your calves, because that's as high as she can get. Very briefly before hopping on in the direction of Shifty. Claudia looks at you, Murin. If your Raj knows someone within the temple, perhaps your suggestion has merit. I'm not familiar with necromantic magic. I don't know how long the corpse can be dead for before it can no longer be spoken with.
Well, my father was a scholar of magic, and he once said that it had to be as fresh as possible.
She turns to you, Raj. I think then it would be in our best interests if you were to travel quickly to the temple and speak with your acquaintances.
Yes. Yes.
The only thing I'm concerned about is the lack of a head and possibly the lack of vocal cords, which may impede the investigation. So,
Oh, I've still got the head. Give me a sec. I had it tied to my belt.
we'll need the head too.
I would only be worried about his spirit not wanting to speak with the person who killed him, but who knows? Maybe the
Well,
Temple
yeah,
of the
but-
Circle of Death has their ways to overcome that.
Yeah, and didn't you discern that he worshipped in the circle of death?
That is true. That is
So-
true.
Anyway, let's just pick up this body and take it to your hideout and show Raj where that is. So
I suggest that's what we
Yes.
do. I suggest Nightmoss and Deimos accompany you, Raj, to this temple.
Yes.
It's a
very
big
good
city
idea.
after all. Is that agreeable, boys?
Sounds like a plan.
Nightmoss, yeah, it's good. It's fine.
I'm okay with it, yeah.
Yeah. All right. You want me to carry your weapon there? I mean, you took a few good hits. You know, if you need a breather.
Oh no, it's
Oh.
fine. If you want to carry your friend, I
you
figure it's
need
at
healing?
least.
Do you need healing, Night Moss?
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, if there's others that are injured, then that certainly would be priority for them first, because I'm still standing. But I have to say, Deimos is a formidable opponent. It was a real joy to.
Oh, it was just as much on my end. I tell you, he was a fantastic fighter. Very impressed.
Yeah, it's
Well,
nice.
to show my good faith, I will cast Cure Wounds on him at 2nd level. So that is 2d8 plus someone
Raj
else.
will be doing the same thing on himself.
Nice.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering about Raj.
Does Demas need healing too?
I've got
2d8
some healing
plus
potions.
4.
I can run through those.
Okay.
I'd rather do that before we waste a spell on me.
I'm not going to heal Nifty because
I agree with that decision. As a player.
Instead, I'm going to use one of the. I'm going to use for the first time the magical item I was allowed to choose, my Ring of Spell Storing, and use some healing magic on myself.
Nice.
And then I'd like to tug at Raj. Are you wearing pants? Do I want to know?
Yes, I would be wearing pants. Yes.
Okay, I'm going to target those. I'm not going to target anything else. Why are we friends with them now? Okay.
Why are we? Sorry?
Why are we friends with them now? They tried to kill us.
Well, it may not have. It is complicated. I believe that there is two of them anyway, who we can speak sense with, and could be very useful in our mission. Your little evil twin, I do not know. We will have to watch him carefully, but.
I wouldn't trust myself, so I wouldn't.
Yes, that would explain my feelings the same.
Night Moss gets 11 hit points back.
Nice, thank you.
And I don't know if Kaludi and I are finishing each other's sentences or not, but we'll explain that we have a mutual problem in which one set of us is in the wrong world. And Claudia says, our people are in your world. And probably we need to go back to our world. But our world is differing, the maps. And I'm sure you have experienced that too. So maybe Mirren and I were talking, or Mirren says Claudia and I were talking about working together to fix both of our times. And us being sent back.
I
God, now I'm
love
playing
elf-splaining in
myself.
stereo.
Yeah.
All right. That is what's going on. And so Murin, Claudia, and the shifties and nifties are taking the body into the hideout, which is not a problem. And Deimos, Nightmoss, and Raj are heading off to the Temple of the Circle of Death. All right. So.
Oh, and I gained back 13 hit points from my 2 basic
Nice.
healing potions that I used. I'm updating how many I have, which is now 1.
All right. So, this is how we stand at the moment. I will bring up the new map, and here is the city of Pythios. So,
pretty.
Yep, thanks to Waterbo's Auto City Generator. Gotta love it. So you folks are in this square here. I will drop a pin. And I will say here, hide out. And so this is where you guys are based just temporarily. Just that you know. And let's just go with that one.
Can I ask Shifty if Shifty's okay with me taking his potential new girlfriend with us to the Death Temple? Only because Cannibal, Nifty, I feel like it's going to do the opposite of what a wingman would do. Like he would try to eat her.
Yeah. Why don't we just ask her? Big Ed,
Yes?
do you want to come with us, or wasn't that enough for tonight and we just meet for, what I mentioned earlier?
Oh. If you don't want me around, then I understand.
No, yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I love you around, but I don't know. Circles of death aren't just for everybody. In some cases, they are called a mood killer. I don't know why.
I don't think we're trying to create the mood of like sexuality or romance with her.
No,
So
well,
I'm not
it's
worried about the
okay.
mood being killed.
I'm not a mood, so I should be okay. I'll probably go with, I guess. I mean, she sort of hops up to you, Shifty, and whispers in your ear, I don't really like the other one, so I'll go with Deimos and Nightmoss and Raj, if that's okay, and then I'll come back.
Which other one exactly don't you like?
Make sure it's said for the record.
She points to Nifty, who's currently licking the blood on the cobblestones, trying to clean up the area where Raj had died.
Stop that.
He looks back at you.
Yeah, that's how you end up like that. Stop it.
So it's
So
okay
Demos,
if I go with Raj and Nightmouse and Deimos?
It made me a little bit sad, but yeah, sure. I can see that he freaks you out. Freaks me out.
Oh,
You
I've
Raj.
been in this bar party.
Demos, can I have the head?
Oh, of course, I just didn't want to. I want to see if Nightmoss had any goodbyes he wanted to say to the head before.
Before you go, I'd like to wave the others, which means the other three of us, closer.
What?
So he freaks me out. Do we want to keep him around, or should I just turn into a bear and sit on him?
Put him in a cage.
Okay, where do I find a cage?
You went to caging him really quick. I have questions about that.
Who?
No.
Me or?
No, I was talking to Marin.
It'll keep him safe. It'll keep him from harming others, and it'll keep him where we can see him. Unless he's probably got a way of getting out. So I don't.
Did you think I didn't know what the cage did?
No, I know you know what a cage did. I am explaining my reasons. I don't think I have to explain my reasons, but apparently I do. So that's it. I'm gonna go and start packing up Naj's body to take him to the hideout.
No
You know,
problem.
No, aren't we
what you
taking
want.
Nas to the Circle of Death to try to get him to wake up and be talkie-talkie?
No, he's
No.
being taken to the hideout, and you guys are going to go
Yeah.
and fetch a priest.
Oh, we're
It's
bringing a
close
priest
by.
to him. Okay, yeah. Definitely on their home turf. That sounds great.
All right, you head off in your various directions, and Raj journeying from that area down to the temple. You know the way, you've been to the temple many times, and you arrive. It is very early in the morning, which is Not so many folk are around. There is obviously a monk who's on duty in the primary worship area, specifically, or meditation and reflection area, I should say. And they notice you, Raj, specifically, and then obviously Deimos, Nightmoss, and Pickett. You have come for a blessing or guidance?
Yes, we need help in communicating with a recently departed soul.
It is always difficult when one has lost a loved one. But the Circle of Death believes that once the being has passed on, to bring it back for conversation is perhaps not what the circles are intending for us to do.
I see. Normally, I would agree, especially being from the circle of life myself. However, this circumstance could be very, the consequences could be very dire if we were not able to get information. This is something that will involve all of the circles changing in ways that we cannot control.
And have you and your friends been drinking this fine evening? He says, and you can see him distinctly starting to sort of sniff the air for alcohol.
No, we have not. If I could please speak with your abbot. He is familiar with me. He will know what I am talking about due to the way I have helped him in the past.
I am sure the abbot is aware of you, as he is aware of many beings, but at this hour, you must understand, he is asleep.
I understand. And normally I would not want to bother him, but this is very, very urgent.
You're going to need to give me a persuasion check, if you please. This monk is not about to go and wake up the abbot of his order at sort of midnight or 2 a.m. in the morning.
Well, if Pickett came with us, could I see if she would be okay with like riding on my shoulder so she doesn't get like lost behind and have to walk
Oh,
really
sure,
fast?
that would be quite fun.
Okay.
Persuasion roll was an 11.
Beats my 6. You say you are a friend of the abbot's?
Yes. I have helped him with a very sensitive mission in the past.
Very well. I will be back. Please
Thank you.
wait here. He disappears, and a few moments later, well, not a few moments, a good few minutes later, Gravlock comes out wearing pretty much what he wears during the day, except that it has a slight frilly bit around the bottom, indicating that it's a nightshirt rather than a robe. And he looks at you a little bit bleary-eyed. I thought it might be you. There are very few black cats running around demanding to see me at this time. Come in, my friend. You and your companions are, of course, welcome. He indicates a door, and it leads to his study, which you have been in before as well. What is it that I can do for you at this early, blessed hour?
I am very sorry to disturb you so early, but things are happening in the circles that are very difficult to explain. Our world is changing in ways that I cannot fully explain myself, but only to tell you that I have recently taken the life of what could only be seen as an evil version of myself. I do not understand the powers behind this, but his companions were also nearly duplicates of my companions. And together, we may have been working towards the same problem, but from different angles, from different, what do you call that? Parallel universes or something like that. So unfortunately, I had to end his life, but we must find out information from his spirit. It is very urgent.
It sounds to me like you need the circle of time, or logic, rather than death. But I understand the dilemma, and of course we will help you. And he looks over at the monk who is near the door. He calls out to him. He says, "Fetch, what's his name? Fetch Quizzle. He deals with speaking with the dead. Best man that we have. I should warn you that the dead may not necessarily want to talk to you. So
I had that feeling, especially since I took his life, but we have to try it."
I see. Well, then let us hope that it is possible. There is a scuffling and sort of the general noise of someone coming through, and Quizzle is there. A short gnome with bright green hair and very red eyes sort of looks up. "Someone needs to speak to the dead?"
Yes, good sir.
"Can I ask you a few questions before we begin?"
Please ask away.
How much of the original body exists?
We have the body, all the pieces of the body. The head is severed from the body, but
Oh no, dismemberment's not a problem at all. The more we have, the easier it is. Next question, and I know it might be painful for you, but when did the deceased desist?
Within the hour.
Oh,
Yeah, I put my axe through his neck about an hour ago, a little less.
an axe, you say? That axe wasn't perhaps made out of, say, dragon glass, was it?
I don't think so, no.
No, then that's fine. Okay, so we got a fresh one then. That's a pretty good sign. We'll probably be able to get quite a lot coming out of them. They're usually quite chatty because they haven't yet experienced what it's like on the other side. Just so that you know the rules, that is one of the questions you were forbidden to ask. What is it like on the other side? Usually the answer that they would give would mean nothing to us anyway. But, all right then. I don't suppose you brought them with you, did you? He sort of says, looking around.
No, we have put the body in a secure location.
Okay, so it's a house call then. He looks over at the abbot. There's no charge for this one, Quizzle. Just go with them, help them as best you can, and do it as a favour for me. Right you are. Lead the way then.
All right, follow me, please.
All right. Meanwhile, back in the hideout, Claudia is looking at the corpse of Naj, and then she looks at you, Mirren. What I don't understand is that our Naj was convinced that you brought about the end of the world.
Yes, that's the first question I want asked of him.
Well, we saw you.
Yeah, I have been writing down questions, thinking of questions, and the first question I want answered is, how do we destroy the world using the Singularum Cartographicum?
Ah.
And I think that would be an interesting answer. The next one I think we should ask is, what are the lines of the prophecy? because we only have the first paragraph. And then any other questions, if you want to. Oh, how did you travel here? That's another question.
Well, I can answer that question for you.
Oh,
Naj has a device that he keeps about his person. Oh,
yeah.
I suspect
A
Raj
super-
might have found it. I think he was looking through the body at the time. That was a device that we found from somewhere. Naj had it before I met him, and it allowed him to then manipulate things, as far as I understand it.
The gem or the orb of time?
I'm not entirely sure now that you mention it. To be perfectly honest with you, I wasn't paying very much attention. It is definitely not a experience that I would recommend anyone goes through exactly.
Why? What does it feel like?
The last time we did it and we arrived here, it felt as if it still does, as if everything is just wrong and doesn't fit quite right. I'm not entirely sure how else to describe it.
So you've done this more than once?
Oh, yes. Naj has... I think I have lost count, to be perfectly honest with you. I think we have probably eliminated about at least 8 other versions of ourselves.
Ah. Okay.
One of us is responsible for bringing about the end of the world.
Are Nifty and I there too?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, nothing feeling right would explain some things. Now look at Nifty. But have you ever considered that it was you who would bring about the apocalypse?
That is exactly... well, that was one of the concerns that I did raise with Naj. However, we are not from the same... Oh, this is where it gets complicated. We're from what you would consider the future time, so to speak. So we know that we didn't destroy the world because where I come from, it's still going. But on many, many other... well, all the other ones we visited, it's always been over.
So you are in the past, which is our present,
Correct.
and this past here doesn't line up with the history as you know it in your time, which is the future.
This time now leads to a point where there is no more time in your time. Naj understood this far better than I did, to be perfectly honest with you. At one point I tried to track and obviously work out where we were and how this all came together, but it becomes complicated.
I have another question.
She looks down at you.
If I decide to, I don't know, find a quiet corner in the world and remain to sewing, he'll go away? Just poof?
No, it doesn't really work like that. You would just go into a quiet corner and do some sewing, and even in doing that, you might very well bring about the end of the world because you didn't carry on doing what it is that you're currently doing, which might be to save the world from being ended. Naj really was the one who understood this far better.
It totally makes sense. I mean, sewing long enough will make you want to destroy the world, but that's a different story, I guess.
So you guys were in the future, so it doesn't destroy your time.
No, which is why we know that we're not responsible for it. But there was something that went wrong. Again, from what I understand, Naj was responsible, and that's why he sought me out and Nifty as well as Nightmoss. And he explained that we were needed for a very important responsibility, and that was to travel with him to try and stop ourselves from causing the end of the world. I think.
Interesting. Okay, well, I've okay. I've got 3 questions here. Let's arrange Naj's body here in a way he would have preferred. What is it? Is it saintly or standing at
Oh,
attention?
I think probably at attention. I mean, he certainly worshipped the circle of death, but, well, supposedly anyway. I never saw any signs of that. He didn't seem particularly reverent of anything at that when I met him. How
Okay,
long have you known your garage for? I met mine. It seems a lifetime ago now, but if I think about it, it's probably only a few days actually.
Less than a month.
Interesting. I wonder
Yeah.
if there's some kind of relation with that going on.
Probably he had some adventures before we met him. He didn't tell us much about them. He has some friends that we've never met. Yuraj mentioned a Daisha, and I don't know who that is, but I know Raj had business partners in the city that he dealt with. He's a gem. He's very knowledgeable about gems and jewelry, but we don't know.
Did yours
much
ever
about
mention
him.
Aeneas?
We found that name, I think. Isn't that the name of the senator guy?
That is, yes.
Yep.
Yes. We found that name in a arcanogram. Someone who was using the energy, as I said, from the merfolk to call an undead kraken to destroy ships. And we cut off that energy, but apparently this what was his name? Shifty, was it Melthicor
Malficor, the not so great.
Yeah, he called himself Melthicor the Magnificent, but he was barely mediocre. And he apparently was communicating with this guy. But this guy is very powerful politically, and he runs all the circles
Interesting.
in our town. Yeah. And as I said, the orbs have gone missing in our time.
As she's about to speak, the door opens as Deimos is led in by Nightmoss. Yeah, you'll see the hideout. It's not grand. There's no walls, but it's home, you know.
It's a lovely home. I was just thinking about these dimensional paradoxes overlapping of potentiality. I think that's what's going on here with all of you. Do you think of something similar?
I did, but then I was reminded that the trousers of time perpetually split every time there's an alternative quantum state, and that just made me despair, really, because I just want to go back to the mountains and watch the sunrise.
You see, I'm so glad I get to speak to someone who understands.
Yeah.
So this is a wonderful conversation, and I fully agree. I had not thought about the trousers argument at all.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you brought it up. This is a wonderful conversation.
There we go. There we go. That's the conversation they're having as they walk into the hideout. Quizzle comes hopping forward, this bright-eyed gnome. Oh, lovely. You've arranged him in quite a nice pose. Right, so this is how it's going to work. I will summon him back, and you get a total of about 5 questions. that you can ask before the spirit will lose all cohesion and return to whence it came from. Now, for you ladies and you scalies, you can't ask what it's like on the other side. That won't work. If you ask questions that are quite old to the being, they might have difficulty recalling it. Best try and stick to here and now type of questions. Also, if this person was unhappy in their death about their head being cut off, I wouldn't press too hard on how they're feeling or that sort of thing, because that can elicit quite strong emotions, and then the spirit might get free and try and rip all our souls out. So I would try and keep him calm at all times.
Or should we leave
Rabbit.
the room then? Would that make it easier on the spirit if we weren't here? I'm the one who cut his head off. I would feel bad if it messed up the questioning.
That's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. But if you all have questions, then at least you'll all hear the answer direct from the spirit's mouth, so to speak.
That's all right. We can inform Deimos after we are finished. You did not have
do
any.
you want to? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Did you have any questions, Deimos, you wanted to ask?
No, mostly I've kind of worked out that these overlapping timelines are essentially just this large web of potentiality. So I figure all the questions I would ask him are mostly about fashion or about what he likes.
Okay.
I was
Claudia,
going
do
to
you-
ask the same thing. Sorry. So I probably should leave too then. I mean, I look like you. He might mistake me too for you.
It would be
That's
good.
a very good
Yes.
point.
Yeah.
Could you take him with you so he won't accidentally ask what it's like on the other side, or I don't know, how's your neck?
Oh, sure. Nightmost, you got a good thing going with this nifty?
Not really, he bites, but that's okay. I've learnt a bit of a trick. And you see him waving his right hand in this direction. And then suddenly he reaches out with his left hand and grabs Nifty around the neck and lifts him up as he sort of writhes around and claws and that sort of thing. Okay, I have got the little bugger. Let's go.
Okay. I make sure to lean down to Shifty. I would never do that to you, just to make sure you understand. You are not nifty in any way. I'm so happy you're you.
I was just about to say, if you ever tried it with me, I'm going to turn into a giant spider.
Don't even joke like that. That's not okay. I'm going to go now.
Okay, I'm
A
sorry.
Goliath could get pale.
Claudia, do you think you want to ask the questions?
Sorry, who?
That may
Caludia.
make sense in terms of at least I worked with Naj. That might not be the most terrible idea, although I suspect you might know more of what's going on than I do. So your questions might be more pointed and directional once we get past your initial questions. You said you had 3, right?
Yeah, right now. I figured I'd leave the last 2 for whatever anyone else wanted to know.
Well, you know how we travel through time, at least.
Shouldn't we just discuss the questions before she casts it?
Yeah.
Yes. What are your 3 questions?
Well, the first one I want to know, I think we should all know, is how do we destroy the world using the Singularum Cartographica?
Okay. Good question.
The next one is what lines of the prophecy do you know?
Very good. I was
And-
thinking the same thing.
Yeah. And the last one, how did you get to this time?
All right. Let
Now,
us start with those.
Claudia said that they have traveled to many places and have destroyed 8 different versions of themselves. So this is unsettling to me.
I would agree.
Now, one thing my father said is, whenever a question is asked, they will answer it. So if it's, have to be very careful how we word the questions. He said how and why are really good questions because they'll get the most information. Claudia, let's change clothing so I look more like you. Just the robes and stuff.
That makes sense. What other questions are you going to ask?
These three.
Start with these three and see what his responses are before we come up with the last two.
Yeah, we might want a follow-up question.
Right. Are we all ready to get started?
Can I peek my head in for a final question?
Yeah.
There's just been one I was really curious about. How did they learn that we were the ones who did this? Who told them? That might go into the prophecy thing, but that was just a question I've had running around in my head for a while now. What was the impetus of them knowing this about us?
I will keep that one in mind. I was also thinking of that.
Okay, play date back on. See you guys.
Okay,
Right.
so
I'm
Whistle, where do you
admiring.
want me to stand?
Sorry.
Whistle, where do you want me to stand?
If you stand behind it, it might not turn around to see you. Although that is pure speculation on our behalf, considering that it is a spirit that's theoretically looking. But it's a fresh one still. It's still under 2 hours, so he'll probably still look at dead ahead as he used to, if you'll excuse the pun. Because he hasn't yet learnt that he's a spirit, so he's kind of able to look in all directions at the same time. But that takes training.
Okay, I'll get the chair and I'll sit down by the top of his severed head.
Can we start now?
Yes, please.
I'm admiring that gnome for keeping her cool with us discussing the end of the world, prophecy, different timelines.
Yeah,
All
Quizzle's
that
more
stuff.
excited about getting to speak to the dead. It's not something that he gets to do very often.
Is Bigot
I have
there?
one more question. Yeah, that's just
You
what I
holding
wanted
your
to know.
hand very tightly?
Yeah, Bigot would have hopped off of Deimos, I guess, by the time you get back, because there's a danger of hitting her head on the ceiling. So yeah, she can be standing next to you, Shifty.
Okay.
Oh, does she hold his little clawed hand?
If he'll hold hers.
Yep, I reach out for her hand and hold my breath.
Why aren't you holding your breath?
I was told in situations like that you're supposed to do that. I don't know why. It's really straining.
Okay. The two little kobolds are holding their breath.
And
Right.
slowly get darker faces.
Now can we start speaking with his
Yes.
corpse? Because we're on the clock here, people.
Yes.
Please get started.
Okay. He starts going about his ritual to raise the dead. There's lots of flourish and flurry going on, and he summons on the circle of death to roll backwards, to journey in a different direction so that there might be peace in all circles. And he draws, sounds like abyssal or ethereal version of Naj suddenly stands up out of the corpse and glares around at those that are in front of him. Why have you brought me back? There's a few folk who want to talk to you. This is so amazing. Keep him going, keep him talking. Don't aggravate him.
He can ask questions.
Raj points to Mirren, dressed as Claudia, and says, please.
How do the people destroy the world using the Singularum Cartographicum?
Claudia, you never did understand that. It is because of what they stopped her has sent aged in, which is
What is the name?
the device you cannot return. Here, Claudia, you are without who you, for he is not.
How would you get us back to his time? To
You clever girl, Claudia. This. And I had a pendant. It was about my corpse, unless those filthy doppelgangers of ours have taken it. I should have seen their power. It was my mistake that led to my death. Should not have made that mistake. You use the amulet, but you do not have the necessary training. Only one who has explored the time, the circle, will know. The spirit starts to flicker. I think you've probably got about one last question before you...
No, I've asked them all. Be at peace, Naj.
As he starts to fade, Quizzle steps forward. I do just have to ask one last question, O great spirit that is about to depart. He looks at the collective of you. Is it cold where you're going? The spirit flashes for just a moment and flickers. Very is all that it says before it winks out of existence.
I was just about to ask it how he would rate this conversation.
No, we've asked him 5 questions.
Oh, I think mine was far more valuable to scientific research, thank you very much, than what you were doing.
But you forbid us to ask that question, and I am sounding like this.
I forbid you to ask what happens on the other side and what the other side is. I didn't forbid you to ask what the temperature was. I thought that would be innocuous enough. Besides, the risk of him breaking free and trying to steal our souls, if you cut his head off the first time round, you could probably do it while he's undead. They're not that much more powerful, really.
Okay, the next guy we kill and ask anything, we are going to ask whether or not they are playing bingo over there, because I'm not going there if they play bingo.
Right. Well, if that'll be all for this evening then, or do you have any other corpses that you'd like to communicate with?
That is
No,
all. Thank you.
But I have this piece of gold for you. Thank you so much.
Oh, that's very kind of you. I'll put it in the coffers. Right, well then, it's been an experience, to be sure. Sorry that it didn't give you, specific answers, but often it's about reading in between the lines of what was said with the dead. They not particularly cooperative individuals if they died angry, as is often the case. Sadly, I don't know of many who've died happy, except for that one man. But then he wouldn't shut up, so we had to send him away anyway. Anyway, toodaloo.
One question before you leave.
Yes.
Is there a temple to the Circle of Time here in Pythios?
I believe there's a shrine to the Circle of Time in Pythios. I don't think there's a full temple.
All right, that is enough. That is enough to begin with. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's in Petals Street, if you want to know. Petals Street. Aye.
Bye.
Right. He opens the door, looks at the 2 giants. He's gone again. This time it's for good, I'm afraid. So you probably can go back in again, I guess.
Thank you very much. Was it a good time had by all?
Well, I certainly enjoyed it. I thought it was very illuminating. And they certainly asked very good questions. But I'm not sure if they managed to make any headway or not. You'll have to ask them, I'm afraid.
Fair enough. Well, thank you for your help.
Sure. He goes whistling off down the courtyard.
All right. I do believe that this has confirmed to that Neos is the master, even though he would not say that name directly. But I do believe this is a name we've heard repeated, and I believe the next step is for us to go to find out from the Circle of Time how to use this pendant. I would like to.
First things
Wait,
first.
Raj. You mean, you don't mean our nails, because our nails, he just told us our nails isn't the bad nails. He's probably not even heard of this Malficor.
All right. Well,
Can
So
I
we need
step
to
in just for a moment, says Kaludia.
Yeah.
I know Raj worked quite closely with our nails. And I'm just throwing this out here, but if our nails had hired us to come and destroy you, wouldn't it make sense that our nails could possibly have contacted himself as well?
Oh,
I
I'm
would not
wondering
put
if
it past him.
I'm
It does make
wondering
sense
if-
in an evil sort of way.
Yeah. Mirren?
I'm wondering if this Naos and your Naos aren't actually the same person. Now, he said that the name of the master here is irrelevant. He has a she above him. I think I recall that correctly, right, Guy?
That does sound familiar, yes.
So there's someone above him.
Was your nails acting out of sorts?
We haven't met him.
I have seen him once, so I would not know what his unusual behavior for him.
Raj, you can give me a wisdom... no, not wisdom. Intelligence check, if you please.
Nine.
In which case, 9. You do not recall anything else about your nails.
Another thing is, we have to be at the caravan this morning because we've hired onto a caravan, and we're going to Herculanum, which is the head of the Circle of Time.
And also the site where you destroy the world.
Yeah, we will try to prevent that. Claudia, I am calling you my cousin.
That makes sense. It would explain the similarities.
And you can either hire on or go as a passenger. I'm willing to pay your way if they have room. But if you can be hired on, you get 6 silver per day, and it's about 5 days, something like that.
That's assuming that we're going to work together. In terms of, would it not make more sense? And she looks to Nightmoss.
Oh, by the way, give me my cloak back.
Yes, she gives you your cloak back.
I check it to see if the map is still there.
Yes, it is. If we were to separate, maybe we should go to Herculanum, and you should follow your time lead here in Pythios. Then doesn't that change things already? It becomes impossible for you to cause the end of the world if you're not in Herculanum.
Change and can't really affect the future that much. There, have you read The Jeweled Net?
Is that a Goliath volume written on stone
It is.
tablets?
It's a Goliath volume series on the nature of time.
Yeah, it's good reading if you can't sleep whilst on the hunt, tracking
It
a
is.
herd.
It's
Yeah.
on reindeer skins. We keep it on reindeer skins and roll it up when we're done.
She shakes her head. She looks at you, Mira, and Naj and Night Moss used to go on about this sort of stuff all the time.
Actually, Raj, I think that's an excellent idea, especially provided that the Singularum Cartographia isn't there. However, what if the change doesn't happen in Herculanum and actually happens here?
Okay. So let's just send these three off with the caravan and we will stay here in Pythios?
No. It might accidentally happen that if they go in our stead to that other city, they might accidentally in our stead trigger the apocalypse. Have you thought about that?
I see.
But we would only be able to do that if we had the Singularum Cartographica, which we don't. You do.
Yeah, but I trust him with triggering the apocalypse in another way. And I pointed Shifty. Nifty.
I just wanted to see my Amphis.
You'll get to see him. I promise.
This is all very tricky. If I understand what Deimos is saying, then whatever we do now is going to cause something to happen in the near future. But because I'm from the future, I know that the world is going to end. Except that now you're saying that it might not happen anyway because it's already changed. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I believe so.
I have another question for you, Claudia.
Gonna answer it in one
You've
too
already
Siri.
killed 8 of us.
Yes.
Have you stayed and witnessed what happened to those worlds after our death?
We would always return to our own, and then Naj would go to speak with those that had employed him, and he would come back, usually quite ecstatic that we had managed to avert now the destruction of those worlds.
So all you had about the apocalypse happening anyway was Naj's word.
Well, no, we did see it occurring once.
And that's when you didn't kill us.
Correct.
Huh. That's a
Naj
bummer.
took us to the moment where we saw you destroying the world.
How did you make it?
As the world was about to be destroyed, that's when Naj then jumped us here, basically.
Ah, so you didn't see it.
Well, what I saw, I didn't particularly understand, but I saw your Raj and Murin holding what appeared to be a black sphere, except that it wasn't actually a sphere, it was just nothing. And it started to expand rapidly, and in its wake, there was nothing. Just total oblivion of the universe. Just everything gone. And just before it got to us, Naj then pulled us out.
All right.
So much
So
worse that he's a gaslighter and he's right.
well then, let us go on the caravan. We can have more control if we are following the events personally, I believe.
So our group is not staying here.
Right.
What about their group?
They can stay here. Or
Yeah, I think Claudia and Night Moss might be okay, but your little Nifty isn't like our Shifty. You will have privileges for the next week, free room and board and food at various inns, and a bit of laud and honor. But your little Nifty is going to be a problem.
Yep. Can it turn into other things?
Well, one moment he goes from being quite nice to being a savage little bastard who just chews on everything. So, yes, I guess you would say that he does change quite dramatically.
Into a mouse or a lion or a bear
No,
or
no, he doesn't do that. He usually just hunts seagulls.
So Claudia, can
what's so
you
wrong about that?
Claudia, can you mark an opponent and do more damage on them?
No. I don't know what you mean specifically.
Okay, what is your greatest talent specifically? I heard you can get out of tight places. That would suggest a handy person of some sort.
My focus is actually on medicine. I'm a healer.
Oh, really? Oh. Okay.
If we're staying
So-
here, then at best, we won't necessarily get in the way, but should we take the device that Naj had and attempt to get back to our own time?
That
I
is a-
think I should hold on to this for now and find out how it works first.
That makes sense.
Oh, I have an idea of what they could do while we go. I mean, I hate to say this, and only because Nightmoss has the trick with the grabbing and the holding of, I don't know why I went Jerry Lewis, but of Nifty. Our ship needs a crew, captains, and maybe they could take over some of the doings on the ship while we go off on our own up on the cart and caravan. Does that make sense to anybody?
Excellent idea.
It should be due back in a couple days.
Mm, I can see Nightmas and Claudia do that, but Nifty.
You just tie him to the mast.
Well, we usually find if we dangle him over the side of the ship every now and again and he gets wet, he gets quite docile actually. But yeah, I mean, I would love to go back to the sea. I don't know about you, Claudia, but that sounds quite nice. If we're stuck here, we might as well make the most of it. You're muted, Björn?
Do you think you can handle the quartermaster duties?
Of course he can. Look at him. He's just like me.
Now, Claudia.
I know. I knew you were going to assume it was her, so I made sure to say that instead.
Okay.
I
Night Moss, can you handle the
quartermaster duties? Yeah, I guess I could. Yes, as a matter of fact. But
If he's a cartographer guy, I swear to Christ.
I can, but to be honest with you, Claudia might actually be better in this case. I'm more suited to the carpentry, actually. But
Oh, you studied under the surgeon as well.
yeah, did you?
It's such a good day. I did, yes.
That's very interesting. Okay.
well, if Claudia is a healer, then maybe she can be the ship's surgeon.
I would very much appreciate to do that, actually.
Okay. The captain's name is Venides. And just come up with a plausible explanation about why Raj isn't here and why we're switching duties. Anything, just
Perhaps
10
Raj.
gold should basically answer any question he'll have for you.
Yeah, that makes sense. So Raj has just returned to his homeland, perhaps with another ship.
Now, you guys, the three of you, are part owners of the ship. So go ahead and take any lucrative actions you can. I had in mind the ship has a cash, some money that we set aside for it. And I was thinking of outfitting it with a hidden tow line, but you might not want to put that in this port. Rain catchers are another thing I was thinking of. So
Good ideas, all of them. All right.
about all you have to know.
What's the name of your ship?
The wrong way.
Don't ask.
I won't. All right. Well, I suppose then this is where we say goodbye.
One moment. I'd like to take. Damn it! What's her name?
Bickett.
Bickett. Sorry.
I've already asked Twitch about the
been a
names
long
of the
day.
power couple that you guys are.
I'd like to take Bickett with me to Nifty, and ask her, can you make an illusion of Captain Venedig? Have you seen him? He was at the parade.
There
Oh,
were
he
so many
wasn't.
people at the parade, and
No, he wasn't. He was out of town.
Damn it.
I was only looking at one person.
Okay, just human flamboyant.
Oh, sorry, I
clothes,
just heard that.
Slightly choleric.
You want me to make
Wasn't
an
Bickett
illusion?
coming with us?
Can you make an illusion of a human flamboyant clothes, somewhat choleric?
I guess.
Is she not coming along, Shifty?
No, I want to explain something to Nifty.
She
Oh.
creates this rather flamboyant man who is far thinner than Venedig, but with the same sort of jawline.
Okay. Don't bite. Now can you make an orc?
She waves her hands and the figure morphs into this giant orc.
Bite.
You think that Nifty nods.
Okay, you're all set.
Another thing I have to tell you is that our Shifty is a ship's mage on board. So
Maybe ours can be a lookout or something.
yeah, and of course I trust you, Kaludia, to come up with a reasonable explanation for this.
How could you not trust someone named Kaludia?
Yeah, that's
Well, I'm
just in
saying
the
it
name,
the
right?
German.
Yeah.
I'm
The
saying it the
entire
German
name
name.
just goes,
Yes.
I'm
All right.
saying it the German way. It's Claudia.
Claudia, yeah. All right. They bid you safe journey and hope that you'll come right. Claudia says that she will report back here to Pythios. She will leave updates at a tavern. She sort of thinks. She says, I don't suppose the Rising Sun is still a tavern here. Is it?
I don't know.
As a matter
Is
of
it?
fact, you are all aware of a tavern known as the Rising Sun.
It is a house.
It is definitely on the dockyards. It's definitely here. Yeah.
It's not
I-
New Orleans.
No.
I remember a nice tavern called the Sailor's Arms.
All right. Sailor's Arms. It is then.
I've noted that.
Isn't that where I got in the fight?
We'll leave
Yeah.
updates in terms of where we are and what we plan on doing, so that should you get back here, you will be able to find us. And every time we come back into port, I will check at the Sailor's Arms to see if there is a message from you. That seems to make the most sense.
It's a good idea. I like that.
The money is currently housed in the Citadel, and Lord Venetaris is the leader there.
I understand.
I would keep your meetings with him very brief because he does have a circle of truth.
I wouldn't meet with him at all because
Yeah.
Nightmare bent him in half and almost killed him.
No, that was the Chamberlain.
Was his Chamberlain?
All these humans look just
Oh,
the same to
oh.
me, I swear.
I completely understand what you're saying. There's not a
Thank you.
tattoo on them.
Not a single one. I have no idea of their story, of their heritage, nothing. It's like they don't even care.
Exactly. How am I supposed to know what your hobbies are if I can't see it written on your forehead?
Of course.
Yeah,
See,
it's backwards.
this has been the best day. Just the best day.
I am quite grateful, and there's a small part of me which is quite sad that we're splitting apart, but I understand why. It makes sense, I guess, in a certain way.
Actually,
I-
one moment. And I'm going to go into my bag and I'm going to take a little trinket that Amphis would have given me, kind of like on our ways. And
Right.
how about, since you don't get to say hi, you take this, and Amphis gave me this, and this way you have a little more piece of Amphis with you.
He clutches it
Aw.
and closes his hand over it. I don't think there's anything I could ever do to repay you for this. During that battle, that was when we lost the forward camp and everything that was in it. So this is literally the only thing I have of him now, apart from the memories. So
Well, then it's where it belongs.
I can't
Anything-
disagree.
Anything else you guys need to know?
Night Moss,
Yeah.
could you use some of my profits to get him, Nifty, a good therapist?
I will certainly try. We can see what we can do there, but
Okay.
I think he was hit by lightning just one too many times.
Seafaring therapists are very expensive and hard to find.
Yeah.
And second, could I take a short look at what Demas just gave you?
He holds out this rather intricately carved bear on a leather strap.
Could I try to cast Druidcraft to let corals grow vaguely in the shape of it to make a replica?
Sure.
You need any kind of roll for that?
Give me a perception check.
$14.
You make a vaguely bear-shaped coral.
There was a desperation to that look after you rolled. I was really enjoying it. I was like, all right, what do I got? What do I got? What do I got?
I'd like to give that coral bear to Demas. Thank you.
It was just immediately like very quietly crying, just turns, he's my best friend. He's my absolute best friend for a reason.
You are lucky to have that. Right. If that's that, I think the best thing is for us to move forward. I can only say that I hope that none of you do actually bring around the end of the world. But
No, we quite like this world.
well, there's some things that I would like to change. The orc invasion, for example.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Death to the orcs.
Exactly. But
Did you
anyway.
start to say death to the elves just out of habit?
No?
That's what I heard. I was like, death to the elf orcs. Meant orcs.
No, I actually just stumbled across Shifty's voice. It's
There you
Oh,
are.
no.
All right. We will be in touch.
And I will do the elvish special handshake, hand wave, whatever, goodbye to Kaludia.
it only takes us 5 minutes.
Yeah, the long-lived elves.
No, it doesn't take that long.
You separate. They leave, making their way down towards the dock so they can start establishing their alibis and that sort of thing, leaving the the 5 of you alone in this hideout.
I look after them and then look up at the others. Didn't the Chamberlain tell us to get rid of the doppelgangers?
What he doesn't know will not hurt him.
Ah, good.
I need you all to make
No,
dexterity
that's
saving
it.
throws, please.
Understood. I'm so happy with mine.
Deimos, what did you get?
Natural 1.
Natural 1. Raj,
30-20.
dirty 20. Shifty,
15.
15. And Murin?
8.
Murin and
is this an
Deimos.
effect I can see? Like a trap or a spell? I have advantage on those. just to
It's
make sure.
not a trap, but technically
a
it's not a
danger sense
spell
thing.
either. Well, I suppose it
Okay.
would be a spell, actually. Technically it's a
It's
spell.
up to you.
I guess. Sure, it's a spell.
Okay. Try it again. I'm gonna roll physical dice this time. Because I know what roll 20 does to me. I rolled a natural 1 again.
And so as you
Going to
do,
break something.
yeah, Murin and Deimos, you are both flung backwards as the space in front of you, just over Naj's body, seems to just form into an invisible bubble that then bursts outwards with this shockwave, and this brilliant white light opens up in the center of this bubble. And stepping out of it, very briefly, is a very battle-scarred, bleeding, heavily wounded version of Raj. And he looks at you, Raj, and he says, "If you don't come with me right now, everything is for nothing." And he sticks his hand out towards you and Shifty and the two fallen comrades.
That's where we end.
Exactly. We'll be back next year, folks. Thank you for watching. Thank you for chatting. And thank you guys for playing as we journey deeper into this rabbit hole. I swear next year it'll be simpler.
Want to say something?
Yes?
Better not be.
I loved it that you described the apocalypse as apocalypse by fade to black.
Everything ceases.
I'm sure curious about what player considers a sphere of annihilation going overboard plays into this.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be fun. I'm hoping it's going to be fun. That's how we planned it anyway.
I
Thank
love
you,
it.
everyone, for watching.
Absolutely. Yes. Thank you to everyone for watching. All right.
I say you're welcome to everyone for watching, and you're lucky to have me.
That's true too. You know, that's true. That's true too. All right. Well, we are now coming towards the end of the show. So, folks, yes, we will be back next year. We said, I don't remember what date we said.
January 6th.
January 6th.
January 6th,
There
yeah.
you are. January 6th, we'll be back.
Couple weeks.
And yes, it's not that long. If you are having a festive break, please have a good one. Try and have an actual break. I know I myself am struggling to get a break going, but, you know, it's okay. It'll happen. Or, you know, something. To all of you guys, my wonderful players, thank you for entertaining me for the last couple sessions that we've had. And I hope that you all have a great festive season as well. I'm not going to be doing a review of tonight's show. There's not much to review in terms of plans and things. We'll pick it up next year where we'll do a big recap, I think, so everyone can remember exactly where we left off. And so, yes, a big thank you to Laura Bones, who's been our moderator in chat, in YouTube and in Twitch, and sharing up the Kickstarter, which I'll very briefly mention. It is a Kickstarter for Epic Battle Maps called Epic Battle Maps, which we launched yesterday. And we're quite happy that we already completely funded. So now we're just into stretch goals. So a merry festive season.
Hell
in 5 hours. That's right.
Congratulations, guy.
It was quite a wonderful thing. So hopefully people will be happy with the final product. Anyway, from us to you and all, a happy festive season, and I would say goodbye.
Merry-